lucky to be here, I think.
Well, listen, it's a real pleasure to have you, Earl.
Yeah.
Had a great weekend hanging out
Yeah,
with you.
yeah, it was great,
a
Joe.
lot.
Thanks for having me, too.
Sure, man, sure.
Giving me an opportunity to make some money.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I guess, PJ and I, this is our Behind Bars podcast, but we always like to have special guests on. So appreciate you doing it with us. And talk to me about, who are some of the most influential people in your career when you were coming up? I know you were born in Oklahoma.
No, North Carolina.
Oh, sorry, North Carolina. And yeah, what was that like? I know you would save your lunch money and go to the pool hall and play pool. And how'd you go from being a player that went after school to really graduating to getting on the road and playing some of the best?
Well, I started out playing the game because I loved it. The first time I saw pool, it was like seeing a spaceship or something. It was a miracle. I said, this is a great game, and I hadn't even played it. I could just look at it until I wanted to play pool. And then you play for a while for love, and then you realize you can gamble at it if you're any good at it.
Is that the first way you always make money in pool?
Yeah, and I played a guy for a dime, I beat him out of a dime.
Yeah.
And I sat down, I said, geez, I just won a dime.
Right. Scale
I
up.
didn't lose anything, I actually won,
Right.
So, and then I started playing for quarters and stuff, and that was it. And then you play real cheap for a long time, and then if you're any good now, and you're progressing, and then as you progress and you see you're getting a little better, then you try for a little more.
Sure.
And then you get out of that stage and you become a pretty good player. There's a lot of little stages you go through, to get where I am today,
Sure.
And actually, there's a lot of stages to get where I am now. But and then you start gambling, getting on the road.
Right.
That's your next step. With the way we were growing up then,
Yeah.
So it's going to change now. Pool players will change. Their mentality will change as time goes on. And it's taken pool a little bit longer to do it. It's just a slower process for pool because they don't support it the way they do everything else.
Yeah.
And then you start gambling as a young guy, and then you start realizing that then the tournaments enter your mind.
Right.
If they have them.
Sure, that's part of the problem, right?
They didn't have them until, there weren't a lot of tournaments like 9-ball tournaments like there are now. 100 years ago, it wasn't like it is now. There were tournaments every week. It was just the best players in the world playing. The Mosconi and those guys were playing on the 5x10. That was the biggest thing in pool for a long time. And they didn't have a lot of tournaments, I don't think. As many as they're having today, maybe. And then you start wanting to play tournaments. And then what I did was I was a notorious gambler. I was taught to gamble coming up. Okay. And that was my that was my main objective, was to rob people, literally,
Sure.
like a flim-flam man, just literally
Hustle.
take their money. Yeah.
Right.
So, and then but I did feel sorry for a lot of people, here and there, I wouldn't take advantage of certain people if I knew that they really had no chance to beat me at all, no matter if I was giving them the whole rack,
Right.
But there was a lot of people I took advantage of here and there, and then, but most of the time I think I was a headhunter, I was looking for the best game, and I was looking to give a guy, a handicap and make the game right.
Yeah.
I wasn't always that notorious. I was in the beginning, when I was younger. I was real notorious then. Those were my most notorious years, when I was from 11 years old until I was about 30 years old. But I wasn't as bad as I got a little older after my teens. But I still gambled up until I was about 30. But when I was younger, I'd rob a nun. You know what I mean?
Did you do anything besides play pool to make money?
I had a couple of jobs here and there.
Okay.
And I grew up on a farm,
Right.
but I didn't like farm life, I like growing up on the farm, the fishing and the hunting
Sure.
and just being a kid.
Yeah.
You know, it was the funnest thing in the world. And I would kill anything that moved. You know what I mean? I was taught to hunt and shoot and, you know,
Sounds familiar.
chase raccoons with dogs and stuff
Right,
like
yeah.
that, you know. So, you know, it's hard to believe. I picked cotton by hand. You know, I had a nice life
Childhood,
as a kid.
Yeah.
I really did. And there was a lot of kids in the neighborhood. We all hung out, you know. We all were mischievous, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Like just like, you know, if you see something in a movie, it was that, you know. But pool really changed me when I started playing pool and started gambling and started realizing I had another life. That was the way out.
That's cool.
So what was the transition like from playing, you know, gambling? You know, eventually you realize at some point that, you know, you're making X amount per hour, but when you lose, you're making negative dollars per hour, right? So that's the problem. I played poker for several years, like, you know, nearly full time. And that was the problem with that, right?
Yeah.
So some much you might make $40,000 and some much you might make minus 10. And so that, you know, now you spent that money, you divide all those hours out by the net purse, and it doesn't look so romantic anymore. What was that transition going from a lot of gambling into playing the large amount of your time over the year being spent on tournaments and things of that nature?
The gambling has no future.
Yeah, agreed.
It just doesn't, you know. You know, look at, you know, what I did with you this weekend. I'm making money.
Right, sure.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm sure I worked hard.
Yes,
but,
you did.
But I'm making some money, and that's I'm actually working.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, this ain't a free ride anymore.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
I was fascinated. I was telling you downstairs when we met, I watched the live feed of Marty Magee's last night, and I'm not a pool shooter. You know, I mean, yeah, I know who you are, absolutely. You know, the Michael Jordan of the game, or maybe Michael Jordan's the Earl Strickland of basketball. I don't know. But anyway, I'm watching the feed, and I'm watching you explain the game and how the ball moves, and I was captivated by what I could have watched you for hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's really, really fascinating and you did a hell of a job explaining it. I think you're a teacher by nature. You know what I mean? Like I really see that in you, just by the way you were explaining, you know, the movement of the ball and trajectories and all that. I was blown away by it. It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to the gambling, you know, you have to gamble. In my era, you had to gamble to get good.
Right.
It was simple as that. No one was going to help you. Players didn't give away advice.
Right.
You know, didn't give away secrets.
It's almost like a magic trick.
You know,
magician.
they might help you a little back then if they could beat you out of 200 or 300.
Right.
First.
Right.
First.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then they might mislead you a little, you know, and you might think you got help.
Yeah, right.
But, you know, I liked the gambling. When it was going on, I enjoyed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
what I wanted. It was better than picking cotton. You know what I mean?
Sure.
To me, you know.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's going to change. The players are going to change. Their mentality is going to change, and that's what will revolutionize the game for the next step.
Yeah.
Golf's done it.
Sure.
Tennis has done it. Tennis went through so many trials. You can't imagine. At one time, the tennis professionals were promoting the game without getting paid.
Really?
So, you know, you got to look at the things that other sports, the barriers they went through
Sure.
to get where they are today. And pool's got to do the same thing. Certainly we need capital.
Right.
We don't need the Olympics. We need capital and we need support.
Right.
We need people to believe in pool, that it's a marketable game and it should be on at prime time.
Right.
You know, on Eastern time, whatever. It should be on prime time. There should be a match. I always said there should be a live match, finals, or semis and a finals, Saturday night or every night, every weekend.
Right.
You know, pool's a 365-day-a-year thing. It doesn't, you know, the weather can't affect it like golf or tennis and stuff like that, where, you know, but they could play indoors in tennis, but it could affect golf more. But pool, you can keep playing. It don't matter. If there's a hurricane outside, you can still play the tournament. See, so I think pool needs to be on at a prime time. I've always said that it needs someone to support it. This pool in this country it's part of its heritage. Pool is, okay. So instead of deserting it, you should stand up for your heritage.
Absolutely, I agree. So from a tournament perspective, what's your opinion on the amount of tournaments that there are as far as big events? And what are some of the biggest events from a prize pool perspective? Like, what's the biggest prize you've played for in a tournament?
One of the craziest things I found out recently is I have no status.
Meaning?
I've won 16 major titles and I have no status.
Like no ranking, you mean?
Yeah, I have no yeah, ranking is a status. Yeah.
That's interesting.
And what's the ranking system?
Well, I'm just saying that, I haven't been playing a lot, but that still doesn't mean what really is wrong. I think I should be an exempt player. I should be able to walk in and play, and I should be able to pick and choose.
Right.
I'm still a marquee player, and I'm still a draw.
Right, absolutely.
There's no reason to shut the door on me.
Right.
Because I'm 60 years old. But what was your question?
It was about what are we compare things like we talked about golf and prize pools. What are some of the biggest prize pools that you've played for in tournaments?
Well, I won the U.S. Open one year, paid $50,000.
Right.
That was one of my bigger wins. And I won the World Tournament one year, paid $75,000.
Nice.
It was a nice payday.
Yeah.
I won some. I don't think I ever won a tournament match that paid $100,000 in my whole career.
Which, to your point, is just crazy considering the amount of money that's in golf
Yeah.
and tennis.
Yeah.
It is, but
for the amount of talent that.
What's wrong with pool? The reason why it hasn't evolved is because they don't seek advice from people like me. That's really what's killed the game. If you
They're
would
not catering towards the players.
like golf, do you think that? Don't think for a minute that the television networks went out there and knew how to film golf right away. The golfers showed them how to film it. They didn't do it. You know what I mean? They taught them where to stand, everything. In golf, you can't just stand anywhere you want.
Right.
You know what I mean? Pool's the same way. You can't just stand there and wave your hands in front of me and stuff like that.
Right.
You can't be eating crackers and stuff, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look at tennis. Nobody's eating when they're playing.
Right.
They're not sitting there filling their mouths. They're concentrating with the player. That's what you got to do to pool. It's a little bit of a circus.
Especially what they do with the Mosconi, right? It's like all the hooting and hollering, and
I don't like that either.
I believe it's
a distraction for us.
It's not only a distraction.
Cheapens it.
Yeah, like I played in the U.S. Open this year, and I drew Judd Trump, which was just
Right.
funny because I'm an APA 4, right? So I was just having some fun with it and went down there, and I got lucky and drew him. And to play in that environment, with all the rules, and you read these rules, right? Like, I had to wear certain clothes and I had a Jeff cap on, and Emily made me take it off.
Yeah,
so
you can't wear the hat.
Yeah, exactly. But I didn't specifically read that in the rules. Yet Judd Trump had sneakers on, and doesn't say you're not supposed to wear sneakers. Of course, I didn't make us think about it because I respect the game. Right?
What's the hat have to do with it?
I'd probably something with
Falling
camera.
over and hitting the balls, maybe?
Well, that's a
No,
fail.
you just
That'd be a fail, so that wouldn't matter. But
it's a poor mentality.
yeah, true, right.
To
The reason
them.
why- yeah, exactly. So, but that's just about respecting the game, and I feel like sometimes when I look at the Mosconi Cup, I can see how it's fun for the crowd. But if you ever watch professional English darts, I play English darts and play New York and Hoboken and whatnot, and when you go to those games, it's all hooting and hollering,
Right.
And that's
They got a pint in their hand,
yeah,
too,
exactly. And
while they're doing it.
I would hate to see pool go that direction. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be a tailgate. It should be respect for a really, a game that people dedicate their lives for. That's my perspective on it. You want to make it crowd entertaining and fun.
Here's the
but
devil's
do
advocate
so
to that,
while-
though.
Yeah.
What if it does go in that direction? What if pool does get that rowdy direction, but the money starts to get into it because of it?
Well, there you go. I mean, that's.
would that be worth it?
Let's go back to me talking about seeking advice.
Okay.
You don't know how critical that is. Contrast, those things can be better by my help.
Sure.
You understand? An overhead camera in pool is obsolete.
Right.
It's not even effective. If you film on an overhead camera, I can't tell you what the player's going to do. That's how ridiculous it is. See what I'm saying? It's only for looks. No,
you're not looking at the player.
Yeah.
You ever seen them film tennis from an overhead camera?
Right.
They go up there once in a while, but they can't stay there because you can't tell what they're doing. Then they go back to 60 degrees. You understand? And that's what pool is. Pool's a 60-degree game.
Right.
It's got to be filmed at 60 degrees. And you need cameras out of the wahoo. You need them everywhere.
You do, yeah.
Telling you, you got to need cameras
'cause there's
everywhere.
so many different perspectives.
I mean, you might need 20 cameras to get it right.
Yeah.
Because you need to be able to catch the guy. You need to zoom in, go to the side, zoom in on this angle, zoom in on this one. You got to do all that in a few seconds before he shoots. So the commentator can see exactly what he's dealing with. You understand?
Yeah.
It's so much research that has to be done in this game. And it can't be done without the advice of certain players.
Right.
Some players, like you said a while ago, I have that ingenuity to teach and illustrate, right? Mm-hmm. That's what you said a while ago. Yeah. I have that same trait in what the table should be like, how it should play, what the lighting should be like, how you film it, where you stand. All those things. I've watched it for 50 years now. I should know exactly what. Right. I've been in 50 countries, and I've been watching pool for 50 years and playing for 8 hours a day for 50 years. I should know what's right for the game, not some guy that makes pool sticks.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there you go.
Well, true.
Enough on that, but that needs to be done. I mean, if they don't use me, at least find a player that has my trait as we go. Someone's going to come along. There ain't many, though, I'm going to tell you that.
Right.
I haven't seen many players that have as broad imagination as I do for getting the game right. Like when I set that table up for Shane Van Bowen, see, what I did was I heated the table, 5 by 10. The pool world said I had no chance. How am I going to beat him on a bigger table? I was setting him up like a bowling pin.
When was this?
It's been about 12 years ago, maybe longer, a little longer. 15 years maybe.
Shane was young.
When he beat me on a 4.5 by 9, I said, I'm going to get him back. I said, I'll play you on a 5 by 10. He says, you can't beat me on that. I says, play me. He says, okay, we played. So, race to 100.
Wow.
So, I told the guy, I said, I'm setting the table up. He says, okay, you set it up. I heated the table, and then I jacked the pockets up. I flanged them. You understand?
Okay.
Where if you touch a rail, it hangs right up. But the table couldn't get wet because it was heated like your table got last night.
Okay.
Your table got, when the table gets wet and boingy and the spin goes off the ball, you can't play at all. No matter if the pocket's 6 inches big.
Right.
You understand? You still can't play right. The key to pool is controlling the table, making sure it stays the same temperature.
Right.
Then you could put it outside and we could play. Put it anywhere and we could play, on a raft, on a boat. You know what I mean? That's what the key is. Then you jack the pocket up. What I mean by jacking the pockets is you flange them like this, like that.
How do you do that?
Well, the mechanic that fits the table, you get them to do it, or at the factory.
Sure.
You can do. Really need to do it at the factory.
Got you.
Do it factory done instead of having. And then you flange the pockets a little bit and make them the right size. And then when a player hits a ball poorly, it won't go because the table's heated. See, if you leave the pockets cut like straight, like they are today, and you heat the table, you shoot footballs in it.
How are you heating the table? Space heaters?
No, you got to. One day I thought they would design a table that, like I'm talking,
the heater
about.
Inside of it.
See, what they really need to do is they need to take my ingenuity and make the table. They need to I need to be in a lab with a. They need to follow me.
You need to engineer it.
Need to be 8 guys with lab coats following me around. They're following Tiger around. Why not me? But anyway, so the table, what I did when I played Shane is I tricked the pockets and heated the table.
Okay.
And what that does is the table is very playable still. High level. Just don't hit one bad. That's all it is.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
But the table couldn't get wet. You could do things on that table. It was unreal. If you ever, I haven't seen the footage on it, but I made a shot on that match that it was ghostly. I'm telling you, scary, really. You ain't never seen nothing like it.
Nice.
And
I'll
you
pull
can't
that
do
up.
that stuff unless the table's heated.
Right on.
See, if you heat the table, players can just start letting their strokes go. You can start just warping shots and spinning around the table. But you got to make the cushions hard and trick the pockets a little so they don't play too easy where the guy looks so good.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Interesting.
there's a lot to be done with the table. There's a lot to be done with the lighting. A lot to be done with the filming. There's so much to be done. And I don't have much time left. And no one ever let me help. I could have changed this game a long time ago, but they wouldn't let me help.
Speaking of time, how many tournaments do you play a year?
I don't know. I play Turning Stone every year
Right.
because it's only a 4-hour drive.
New York.
Then I play the Expo. It's a 2-hour drive.
It's right here.
And then I get an invitation once in a while out there in Vegas to the World 10 Ball, but last time I went to that, I got COVID, so I'm not going back to that anymore. Let's see, and then
Are you superstitious?
no, I'm not superstitious. It just came out, you know. It just started. The
COVID.
Yeah, and I got it first thing.
Are pool players superstitious like baseball players are?
A lot of them. They have some strange beliefs,
Yeah.
pool players.
What's the crazy shit?
But
you've
I'm
seen?
not like that. I told you I was born on a farm.
Sure,
I'm pretty
sure.
normal,
You're-
believe me. For
What's
a
the
pool
crazy
player,
shit you've seen though?
I'm pretty normal for a pool player.
What have you seen people do on the table that blew your mind as far as superstition goes? I'm sure you've seen fucking.
My
everything.
table's got a ghost on it. My table at home. It's almost 100 years old.
Wow.
It's a 1946 anniversary Brunswick. It's almost 100 years old. It came out of the state of Illinois. So probably some gangster died on it or something, you know what I mean? But I still think the guy that died on my pool table was a pool player. and he was a straight pool player.
Right.
My table was weird. You can shoot a shot and it's like trick photography. The ball will like roll in the stack and rack itself. The cue ball.
That's funny.
Tell me about the Mosconi Cup. What's it like?
Well, it was a love-hate relationship with me. But I think my whole career has been like that. I think everything revolves around the things I just talked about.
Yeah.
You know, the equipment,
Atmosphere.
the lighting, the way it's filmed, the
crazy.
way it's commentated. Everything that probably any question you ask me could go back directly to those questions.
to the science of it all.
things I just
Sure.
talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's a great event, but still the pockets aren't right.
Mm.
They're too easy. You got to make. I'd like to see the guy miss
Yeah.
more. I don't
makes
care if
sense.
they look like idiots. I still say you got to get the table heated. See, the reason we played poorly last night is because the table was the rails were uncontrollable, and the spin won't stay on the ball, and you couldn't draw the ball. See, at the Mosconi Cup, you can draw and you can spin. Everything's dry.
Yeah.
So, but now you got to mess with the pocket because it's too easy now. See,
Are they 4 1/4?
they keep thinking you have to make the pocket small
Right.
to make it difficult. That's not the way to do it. You want to flange the pockets like I was talking about.
Right on.
Flange them, and that way you get a rejection. And you got to mess with the facing. You got to change the little materials in the facing to a softer rubber.
I see.
And then it springs a little, and it gives a jawing reaction instead of a cuffing reaction. Those tables cuff the ball into the pocket. Gotcha. It's no good. Right. You can't determine who's a better shooter than the other guy in that event.
If the pocket's throwing the ball in.
Yeah, it's like a vacuum cleaner. I don't care if it was 3 inches big; it would still slurp the ball right in the hole because it has no shelf, and they get mad at me if I tell them that everything's flimsy, right. And that's why they kicked me off years ago because I kept telling them the truth. Your table was flimsy, it's unprofessional, and it doesn't determine who's the best players.
How did you like the team dynamic aspect of the Mosconi? Like, I don't recall the gentleman's name you played with a couple years ago, but you guys were unstoppable. I
played with Morris.
Morris, yeah, exactly. And
yeah, we I don't think we ever lost a match. Maybe
I don't believe so. But did you like that team aspect, being team?
We might have lost in Malta at the end. That was my last appearance with Morrison. No, one more time in Vegas.
Yeah.
But at that stretch where I didn't play for a long time, that was the last time I played with him, was in Malta.
Yeah. Yeah,
we were quite a team, a dynamic team we were, and because we had the same contrast.
Right. I think many fans were upset about this year's Mosconi, you not being able to compete due to the COVID regulations in the UK, and I thought, quite frankly, it was bullshit.
Yeah, it's a crazy world, but that's the way it goes.
Are you? Do you have intentions to go out this year in Vegas?
Well, I'll have to get picked.
Sure. Oh, that's right.
So I'm not going to qualify. I'm not going to fly around the world and try and spend $2,500. I could probably get a sponsor. I could get somebody to sponsor me to fly around and play right now, but I still think that my best years are behind me, and I don't want to risk someone's money.
No, I understand, but you were ready.
But if someone came along and said, "Hey, I got $1 billion here, just, go play all the tournaments," I'd probably take advantage of something like that. But I know that I probably can't win a tournament, And they're playing a tournament in England somewhere right now, I think, for the rankings.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna fly to England right now. I'm 60 years old. I just made money with you, and now I want to fly 10,000 miles there and back.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Or a little less than 10,000.
Right,
I think it's 8,000.
Like
but anyway, you want me to fly 8,000 miles, and knowing that I ain't gonna make a bone, a dog biscuit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and I come here, and I worked. I think this is not as hard as flying over there.
Sure, and hopefully, in these types of things, exhibitions and whatever, you get to meet people and have some fun. I can tell you were having fun last night for sure.
If they would guarantee me some kind of appearance fee, and all the events, and I think it should be done.
Right.
I think you have to make exempt players in any sport.
Have you been approached about commentating?
I've done some commentating for a guy, Luke Riches, that used to be with Matchroom. I did some with him for the Billiard Network. I don't know. We've kind of stopped. I don't know what happened. I need to contact him and see what happened. But I don't know if he ended it or he's just on a break or something. But I haven't been doing it lately.
This is a little off subject. Well, but did you ever meet and play with Jackie Gleason?
No, I didn't.
No,
he was a pretty good player, I heard.
Yeah.
Played straight pool.
Fascinating man.
Yeah, he was quite an actor.
Yeah. Could sing.
I grew up watching him.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, but I still say pool is still in the Stone Age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone's got to bring it out. It's got to be TV. Forget about streaming.
Right.
You can stream all you want. I think these things are good. These podcasts. I'm pretty good at these things. You know something too? I got up and ran 6 miles this morning. I think when you run, and what did I do? I did 500 sit-ups, and then I jumped on a treadmill, and I ran 6 miles in 52 minutes. Then I came here. But I'll tell you what it does. It makes you very sharp.
Sure.
Even thinking about when you ask me a question or anything.
Yeah.
And pools like that. That's how sharp pool is. It's a real sharp game, you know? People don't realize. They think pool's like playing checkers or something.
Right.
Or old maid or sitting down,
Old maid.
you know, knitting a sweater or something. Like, pool's like knitting a sweater, you know? What a game. Yeah, pool. Yeah, okay. It's like, pool. Hey, what is it? You know, checkers or something.
You know, yourself aside, who do you think the best is today? And let's take straight pool and 9-ball. Let's take two examples, two games I know you play a lot of.
Straight pool and 9-ball. Who's the best?
Yeah, who do you think? Yourself aside.
I still think pool's luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was one of the luckiest players ever. So, you know.
Well, statistically, right, you have those numbers speak themselves. However, to your point, not everybody's playing all the same matches, right?
There's
it's
no
not
ranking.
It's not like there's the Major League Baseball where every team has to play a certain number of games.
I think we should play straight pool on like 3.5-inch pockets and play straight pool and heat the table.
Yeah. That's the game.
What that will do is, and put a shot clock on them. A short one, like 24 seconds, where you're gurgling a little bit. You know what I mean? You're
Put the pressure on.
Yeah, there's more, put a little more pressure on the guy.
Right.
Even though he may not perform well, you know, but he'll get used to it, you know, he'll get used to it eventually, you know. And that way, there's a premium on the shot, the break shot, because the pocket's so little.
Right.
You better be good on the break shot. You know what I mean?
I like that shot.
Can't
clock
just
idea.
you got to be accurate and good with, you know. If you put spin on it now, you got to hit it good. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, because it won't go in.
There's little things about straight pool that would make it a world game and a TV game, I think. I think straight pool's still the best game over 9-ball and all them other games. But it's no good if only one guy shoots.
Right.
I've been trying to figure out a way where you can make it where two players engage, you know, more.
Tell me, is snooker more marketed in England than pool and is in the United States?
It's a much bigger game in England, correct?
Sure.
Like, is there bigger money than there is in pool?
It's big in the Asian countries, snooker, and it's big in the UK, Ireland, England, Scotland, and then they play it a lot of pretty much abroad in Europe, Germany.
Have you played it?
Holland, they film it. You know, they
Sure.
take it on TV.
Have you played it, and do you like it? Have you played it?
No, I don't like the game.
Okay.
I don't like it because you can't do a lot with the cue ball.
Okay.
You can't warp the cue ball and spin it and fly around the rails.
Why is that? Is it because of the size of it?
Yeah,
the
size
ball's too light.
Yeah, right.
It's like a cork ball. You know what I mean? It's like it's a wiffle ball or something.
Right,
to me.
sure.
And then the cloth's different. You have to grow up on that cloth. You have to be born on it, literally.
Yeah.
It's a strange cloth. It's like grass almost. Like playing on croquet or something to me. And then certainly it's a hard game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not disputing that it's not a difficult game. I think it's just very conservative, and we're not conservative people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We want to see a point right away.
Yeah,
we don't want
agreed.
to see a guy play safe for 30 minutes
We
and
like
then get a
action.
shot. You know what I mean?
True.
That's why soccer is not as big in the United States.
Yeah, why
'cause
baseball's dying, right?
They think soccer. I don't know how if I watched a soccer game, there's only one way I'd watch it. You'd have me handcuffed and toothpicks on my eyes, and if you had a gun on my head, I'd tell you to shoot me,
Clockwork
so I
Orange.
wouldn't have to watch it.
Yeah, right. That's funny.
That's true.
But I don't know. There is some good things about soccer, but it doesn't do nothing for me.
Yeah.
I'm a very picky athlete. I like golf, football, tennis, and pool. That's pretty much
Who's
it.
your football team?
Anybody that's playing good. I love watching Brady play. I like
Yeah, me
pulling
too.
it. I like
Me
pulling
too.
against him.
Yeah, right.
I like it when he gets mad.
Yeah.
When the players aren't playing right, and the coach and the officials are giving him some bad calls.
Yeah.
He'll get flustered.
Yeah, he
and
will.
I like seeing the frustration that that because I like seeing that because I'm such a frustrated person. You know what I mean?
You're driven out of anger.
I've been frustrated since I was born. You know what I mean? It's amazing. You spend your whole life trying to fit in, and you realize what were you trying to even do? Right. You know? But I like watching him play. I think that guy that got to the Super Bowl, Burrow, that was a fluke. It must have been.
You think so?
Yeah. That guy, he didn't belong there. He folded like a washcloth. He really did. Yeah, he could have ran for the first down.
Right.
He tried to throw the ball when he was falling down.
Do you think the fix is
He wouldn't take the 2 yards. He had needed 2 yards. He had an open space there. I saw it. But he wouldn't risk his body for 2 yards.
Do you think the fix is in the NFL?
I don't know. I don't like that.
A lot of money and a lot of ratings.
That was a creepy Super Bowl. I didn't like that one.
A lot of reasons why LA has to win that.
It's amazing how far this country's come in gambling, if you think about it. Like, they wouldn't even put a professional sport in Nevada because of sports gambling. Right now, it's everywhere.
Yeah,
NFL owns,
hockey.
pieces of it. It's unbelievable.
I don't want to support sports. I think all the pool players in the world should stop watching sports. If they would do that, I'll stop.
And that's because you believe that you need the equal.
We need to hurt them.
You need the equal treatment.
They're hurting us because they don't support us. They don't lend themselves to us. And that's making me mad.
No, I know.
There's a lot of pool players that will be glad when I'm gone.
Why?
You know why?
Why?
Because you're tired of hearing the truth.
Interesting.
Very interesting. All pool players, if you're listening, all you got to do is stop watching sports, and you'll hurt them.
If pool players boycott it, it would draw attention.
Sure, it would.
You
Just
guys
a little bit, I think.
Okay.
There's a lot of pool players.
Yeah, there is.
So how come? Okay, so you say pool players
well,
in general.
You know, I don't know any other way.
I
don't know any other way to get them to stop bashing pool and acting like it's like an eyesore in this country.
Yeah.
Pool was here before all the other sports.
And it used to be covered by who? ESPN?
Huh?
Who used to cover
ESPN?
ESPN,
yeah. They did a terrible job. We paid production. They never paid for nothing. So they didn't like pool. They would never pay for nothing. So what does that tell you?
Right.
They don't know. It was just a fill-in. Late night fill-ins. That's all it was.
Got it.
Yeah, worldwide of sports or whatever.
They didn't love
bowling.
Pool. Yeah. They paid Hockey Association $1 trillion a year. I don't know. It's millions. It might be $1 billion by now.
Right.
I know it was $50 million 15 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, that's
$50 million a year they were paying the Hockey Association just to film hockey.
Right.
You think they'd ever give us a dime?
Right.
We paid production every time pool was on TV. I want everybody out there to know that ESPN never did their job. Never supported pool entirely. And that's why it failed. Yeah. It was them, not us. Pool's a great game. Yeah. And I told you before, you got to get everything right.
Sure.
The table was the number one thing that you have to get right.
Right. Before
anything is the table and the surroundings and the audience. Pool has to be a very, very quiet game. Can't be a lot of distractions. It's got to be a lot like tennis. If you even move in tennis, the guy will get mad. He'll stop playing. You can't even move.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay?
That's a good point.
Pool's a lot like that.
Yeah. So where do you think it's going? I mean, we've seen organizations like Matchroom spend some money and do some things with regards to the U.S. Open and a number of events that they have worldwide. They seem to be the leader in pushing pool forward. What do you think about? I feel that it's growing organically and slowly, but I do feel like it's going in the right direction.
But I'm going to be gone soon. I need it to happen now. I can't wait another 20 years. I'll be 80 years old in 20 years.
Right.
You want me to look like this in 20 years?
Keep running 6 miles.
I might now.
You might.
I'm looking. I don't look too bad today. I really don't.
You look great.
My complexion looks good today. Sometimes I look like I just got out of the ring with
Isn't
Muhammad
that
Ali.
everything, man? Complexion in people. Like, if you see someone's color, you can tell how healthy they are. It's unbelievable. You know what I mean? Just like if you have, you can almost tell when someone's unhealthy just by the shade that, you know, that they're, like if someone looks gray, you know that they're unhealthy. You can almost tell if they're a drug addict or they have, you know, kidney problems or something shit like that. It's amazing. Complexion's everything.
When I get sick and something's wrong with me, I'll have these big bags under my eyes. And, you know, when I eat wrong, I get bags under my eyes and stuff like that. And I'm not exercising, I get bags under my eyes. Yeah. But I'm getting older now. You know, I'm getting at that age where your body's not repairing anything. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Sure. It's just ready to go. Yeah. You know? With, you know, like everybody at my age, once they get to 60, I mean, not everyone, but majority, they're done.
So organizations like Matchroom Pool, I know we talked about this a little bit. So do you think that they're advancing the game?
Yes, they're giving us exposure, obviously.
Right.
But now in the Mosconi Cup, the money has went up to $15,000 for the losers and $30,000 for the winners. But that still isn't any significant money.
That blows my mind.
Right, agreed.
And then the tournaments they're holding now that give you Mosconi Cup points, which they're calling it a tour, Matchroom Tour, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
And I think they have quite a few events, but still, you know, you travel long distances to get to these events, and you spend a lot of money.
Sure, to get
you
there.
know, you know how expensive everything is now.
Sure.
You know, $2,500 just to walk out your door.
Right.
So, and then
Jesus
there's
Christ.
no guarantees, and then if you finish fifth, you probably break even at fifth.
Right.
That's not good enough.
No.
You know, it's just there's not enough money, and then it's not enough money to interest me.
So does Matchroom
Now it may interest these younger guys because they can do it.
Right.
You know, I mean they're younger. I've already flown 2 million miles. You know what I mean? So
right.
I'm sick of it. But if the money was right, I'd be out there with a I'd be out there playing now, right away.
Sure. Now, who can, in your opinion, right? Like we have major sports like golf where it's multi-million-dollar purses, right? If not tens of millions of dollars. In pool, who's controlling the money? Is it the brands that build the tables and the cues and is it Diamond? Is it Predator? Is
the industry has money?
Yeah,
it does, but it's not going to give it to the pool players. It never has. It never offered. Never tried. They'll give us pool tables to play on and some money,
right?
But they really won't go the whole 9 yards. You know.
It's almost like they have to put the money up.
Yes, they do.
To expose it, to get the ratings,
100%.
to get paid back.
It's all about viewership.
And if they do that, if they can get to that level, then that's where they get their payday. But
they're not willing to part with their
investment.
money. Exactly.
Yeah.
The number one thing I was doing years ago, I was trying to get sports marketing agencies to find money for pool. And I did. I was successful. Yeah. I was actually the guy that landed the Camel Tour.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I documented all the information on that, and I was the one that took it to R.J. Reynolds, this cigarette company, and I was the one that landed that deal, and I was the one that and they wound up, and the APA wound up getting money because of my work.
Right.
But no one even knows it that I did that.
Have you ever thought about doing it again?
Yeah, we need to get marketing agencies to find money for the players. You need to get a group of players that will commit to it.
Do pool players have animosity towards each other? Are they? Do they hate each other? Is there a lot of anger?
Yeah, it's the most jealous sport I've ever seen. Pool.
Jesus.
Without a doubt. There's one reason is there's not ever been enough money.
Yeah.
But still, I say pool is one of the most competitive games I've ever seen. It's you don't want to lose, even to a nun or anything. You don't want to lose, no matter who it is.
Right.
I think if you were playing a terrorist and he had a gun on you and you were playing, you'd beat him. If he's telling you, I'm going to kill you if you beat me, you'd beat him. You know what I mean? Instead of losing. But pool is very competitive, and the players have always hated each other, I think. But not hate, but just always trying to a good example is always trying to, what's the word? Sell you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the words.
Do you think it has to do with
Those
the
are
roots?
the perfect words. The pool player is looking to sell you out, and he wants you to go away. That's his.
Yeah.
He wants to be the number one, the guy in the limelight.
Yeah.
He wants to sell you out, and he wants you to go away.
Yeah. Nobody wants to be number 2, right? So there's only one spot.
No doubt.
What a sport, huh?
That makes sense.
That really
And he
does.
wants to shark you. And he
Well,
wants
that's
to,
it. Do you think that's because
And he
of
wants
that?
to, and he wants to mind screw you too.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a lot of psychological aspects to it.
That's the
Not
best
true.
one.
That's great.
And he's a genius.
Right.
Pool has no soldiers. Everybody's a general.
That's good.
So we can't win a war, and we certainly can't succeed because we don't have enough people to fight the battle.
Yeah, right. That's true.
They all want to be leaders.
Yeah.
Every one of them.
Yeah, and I think also, all the fans also have their sides, because they have their fan favorites who they like, but also because they're gambling.
Yep.
Yeah, there's so many side bets going. There's bets last night
Well,
going.
they'll bet $2 and they'll over there hooray Harry for $2. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Hi, hey, we, all that. You know what I mean? For $2.
Yeah, right.
They might have that bet. They might have 50-cent betting over there yelling. But I don't know. I tried to change the mentality of pool, but I failed. But I didn't fail. They failed me. So you can look at it any way you want. I hadn't failed this game. I've heard people say that I destroyed pool.
How?
I don't know how I destroyed it. I didn't dump the book.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
So I played off my sleeves. And I learned to play from a tobacco patch. You know what I mean? In a
Right.
corner store.
Right.
So I don't know. You can't say I failed. I'm the one that killed the game.
So
Slow players hurt it too. I don't like
slow play.
a lot
yeah.
of. There've been a lot of slow players in the last 30 years, 40 years.
Yeah.
Seems like.
So let me ask you a question. What do you want to accomplish with the time you have left in your career?
I would love to get the placement pool game. That's what I really want more than anything.
And
I
can you
want to see
explain that, how that works?
The placement pool game has a computer over the table, and the referee has a remote control in his hand, and he pushes a button, and the light goes off, turns dark, but these little dots appear on the table, and they have numbers on them, and it's a pattern, and it's 15 ball rotation, full rack. And you can't shoot them in the sides. The sides are there, but you got to shoot them all in the corners. For the pros, they have to shoot them all in the corners. That way, it's a lot harder. So that way, you eliminate wannabes, coulda-bees, should they be, will they be. All those kind of people, they just go away. Hate to say that, but that's the way golf is. It's a discriminating game,
Right.
So pool's not discriminating enough as far as pros go. So the players got to shoot them all in the corners. A rotation. Referee turns the dots on. He puts the balls on the dots. He turns the light back on, and you run them. You got 24 seconds to shoot each shot. Wow. I'm sitting behind a curtain.
That would be awesome.
I can't watch you. I can't watch you play. I'm behind a little curtain over here. So when you finish the rack, you go behind the curtain. I come out, and I shoot the same rack. He turns the light off. The dots appear again. He puts it up. Same pattern. Then I run them. Then I stay up for the next pattern. And I run the next pattern. Then I go behind the curtain. You come out, and he turns the light off, puts this next pattern up, and you run them. And then you stay up for the next pattern. I want to see players play where there's zero luck. Just
I love that.
Pure shooting, pure playing, and seeing who's got the best ticker, seeing who's got the best mind control. Seeing who's the steeliest guy in pool.
Right.
You understand?
That's wild.
Yeah.
God, that'd be
You
so cool.
can't find out that the way we're playing. This is pot luck. I'm sitting there, the guy's getting every roll. I'm down 8-0, going to 10. I'd rather go out and bury myself in the sand. I don't want to play pool. I'm down 8-0. I ain't even shot.
Right.
You're cheering for the guy. I feel like a crumb. You know what I mean?
That's a great
It
point,
ain't,
Earl.
it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible the way we're competing, you know. Both players need the same opportunity, and they need to shoot the same shots to see if he's as good as me.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Level playing field. all
You're not
times.
finding out if the guy's as good as me if he doesn't shoot the same shots I
Right,
shoot.
right.
So,
Good point.
and you're engaging,
Sure.
which is most important. Both players, that's the key to the whole thing.
Joe, I think you could set that up.
Both players
Yeah,
are
I could.
engaging.
I could,
Both
yeah.
players are engaging, just like tennis. I hit the ball to you, you hit it back to me. I hit it back to you, you hit it back to me. Now, every now and then, I might hit one a little better than you,
Right.
and you might not get it. Same thing applies here. I run the rack, you run the rack. I run the rack, you run the rack. But you run into a couple of shots you don't like,
Right.
and I score a point.
Interesting.
See? So engaging is the key.
Yeah.
That's the key. Engaging.
Yeah.
We can't engage the way we're playing.
It's the true test of perfection.
You're letting Shane beat me 10-0, 11-0. Of course, I did it to a lot of people years ago too. Now I roasted many a guys.
Sure.
Right.
You understand? When I had a better break and I was a better, younger and sharper, I beat a lot of guys 11. I bageled a lot of guys, and I got bageled only a few times myself, but I bageled more people than bageled me. You can promise that.
Right.
But and it's not a very good feeling to get bageled.
Right.
You know what I mean? 11-0,
Bagel.
9-0, whatever. You don't want the bagel.
No, it happened to me.
That's a tennis term.
tennis,
They
yeah.
call that, and that's a tennis term. It's a
Get
bagel.
whitewashed, right?
Yeah.
Call it in pool.
We call it in pool. I call it the bagel. No matter what. I guess I played too much tennis.
Zero. It's a zero.
I've been playing tennis since 1975. And I've been hanging out in tennis clubs my whole life. Literally.
Tough game, man. That is a tough
It's
game.
a great game. It is a tough
That
game.
is so cardiovascular.
But pool's
man.
still a harder game than tennis.
Mentally, yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Believe me, I've hit millions of tennis balls and I've hit millions of golf balls. Pool's the hardest game you ever play.
Do you like golf?
Yeah, I like golf, but I hate golfers. I don't like golfers at all. Actually, I want to do something to them if they're in my way. I cannot stand the way people play golf. I quit playing because of it.
Yeah.
Because it got out of hand. The etiquette part is gone.
Yeah, it's like,
I like blackjack.
It's
but I
out
don't
the
like
window.
playing.
You got walk to the seat. There's 8 million people. None of them. They just came from Kmart. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No doubt.
Unbelievable. Just got a new set of clubs from Kmart, and they're in my way. 8-hour round. Anyway, what was it? What we were talking about just a minute ago?
Asking just, what is it that you want to really accomplish?
yeah, the
What's left in
placement
your
pool
career?
game.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
placement
we're
pool.
playing-
Yeah.
The placement pool game is the best way to.
Have you talked to anybody about that?
Yeah, I'm trying to build the computer that goes in the light. I'm gonna have to build a light, especially for the computer.
Sure.
Yeah.
That fits it. Have to be built.
You have to be able to move
with it.
lasers around, right? Just little lasers.
Well, this thing's gonna have it's gonna have remote control with the like watching TV.
Sure.
And then you push a button. If I put a pattern on the table, you push a button. It takes a picture
Okay.
of the pattern and it programs it.
Right.
Okay, it's got to be like this. Sure. It's got to be this sophisticated. Then when we start the matches, you push a button and the light goes off. The dots come on. The patterns start. You select 15 patterns.
Sure.
And then you push the button and the patterns come on. The pattern comes on, and the referee puts the balls on the table. And then he's got to be able to stand there and do it that easily.
Sure.
It can't be something against the wall over here.
Yeah, but you got to read a chart.
The lines on the tables.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm getting old. I'm getting mad.
It's got to be
now.
user friendly.
Now that's the first time I got mad in this interview
It's true.
because I start thinking about how idiotic everything is.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
You're right, though. It has to be user friendly.
It's got to be quick
Yeah.
and simple and effective. You understand?
The interesting thing is too, you can even have almost think of the different patterns as golf courses. or holes on a golf course. Like, this one time Efren Reyes got out from this rack or something like that.
Yeah.
We know we have film.
You
You could then say this is the Efren Reyes rack. This is the rack that you got out of that was real
You could
tough from
store old outs
yeah,
that way.
sure, yeah.
But anyway,
That'd be really cool.
if the
And submit them. The players could submit them. Which ones they want to play. Almost like
Yeah, you got it. But this would be great for Vegas. They could
Yeah.
book it on Vegas because it's a clean game.
sure,
You know what I mean? And make sure all the players get paid.
right,
You got to have just a short field to start with. Make sure all the players are getting paid good. Now they won't dump.
right.
Okay, you got to get rid of the throwing and
Gambling
the
affects
match
that,
fixing.
right?
Got to get rid of that. We need a way to play.
Does that happen a lot? Max
I still think it happens. Not even though we're not.
privy to.
There's not a lot going on right now.
Yeah.
It's changing, but it's been there forever.
Okay.
Sure.
And it's been there in England too in the snooker. They had a guy.
That's crazy.
That Higgins guy was accused of it not long ago. One of the top players, but he got away with it. I don't know. They let him go. One guy got away with it. I'm not going to say his name. I said Higgins because he's still active.
Yeah.
Not just go. But you got this placement pool. It's perfect for Vegas for booking it. Okay, it's perfect for the best players in the world. Okay, it's perfect for. There's no luck. There's a little bit how you play position,
Right.
how you land on the ball.
Sure. Right.
You know what I mean? If I land just right and you didn't, then I'm going to score a point.
Right. Right.
So that should be there that way. That's not really luck. That's you. If you land wrong, that's you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of course, every now and then you could swear you hit it right, but
Right.
you didn't.
Right.
You know.
Something at the table or whatever.
So, but you got to get rid of the luck factors. You got to get rid of those people that think they can beat us. You got to put us in a exclusive area. You understand?
Yeah.
Like you can't walk out and play the Masters and shoot 65.
Sure.
You can't do
Yeah.
it.
Right.
And these guys are great because they can play a course like that.
Sure.
Now, if people start watching us, I think it would be great if it was played on a 5x10.
Yeah.
This game I'm talking about.
Sure.
If people watched us play placement pool, say we start it, and then 3 years later the players are comfortable at playing it, they've adapted. You know what I mean? And now they're pure geniuses. People are going to watch it because it's an art. Then
Yeah.
the way we're playing is not an art; it's luck. I can get beat by people that are way less talented than me.
Sure.
And the conditions are always adverse. You got to get the conditions ideal all the time, and then play this game I'm talking about, and then the general public will start watching.
Well, think about World Series of Poker,
Yeah.
right? What was the draw there? The draw there was the big money pot. They made the investment, right? They made the investment in the pot so that anybody who could play poker, was able to get into it, and it became a phenomenon because people wanted to see people go after that pot. They need to do the same thing for pool.
There's one other thing though too, which they're not doing. Like Earl and I both played in the U.S. Open. That cost us $750, right? Now you could have got that sponsored, but the World Series cost $10,000.
Okay.
So that's another thing. What happens if you put these purses to get into the game at $2,500, $5,000?
You ain't gonna get no players.
You're not going to get any players, right? That's the problem.
Poker's an easy game. It's not as hard as you think.
No, agreed.
It's
I know what you mean.
easy and lucky. It's luckier than pool.
It's mostly math. Have you memorized the
So
math?
no, it's luckier than pool.
No, I get that.
So these guys that win them, they think they're great. They're just lucky.
Yeah.
They're not that good.
There's a lot of.
I know there's some strategy here and there.
They say you have to win 7 coin flips.
I know there's
over
some
the course of
look,
to win the World Series.
I know there's some strategy here and there, but this game I'm talking about, placement pool, it's off the chart.
Yeah,
There ain't no guy gonna come in. A good player is not gonna come in and beat a great player at this. A good player is not gonna beat a great player at placement pool.
Right.
You understand? He's not gonna do
They
it.
can now the way it's set up.
You got tennis.
They
Tennis
can run
is
the table.
tennis is set up for the best players to win. It's designed that way. You understand?
Yeah.
It's not designed for the weaker players to win a majority. It's not designed that way.
Right.
Snooker's designed the same way for the best players to win. It's a difficult game. It's a big table.
Right.
They don't have leagues in snooker.
It's almost like
interesting.
You know what I mean?
It's
you
almost
can't
like
have leagues in that
tic-tac-toe.
game. You can't have people sitting around drinking and think they can make a ball
Right.
on that table. That
That's a good
table's
point.
it's a serious pool table.
Sure.
This game that I'm talking about is dead serious.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's
I love
not.
it. I love the
it's
idea.
not like every other aspect of pool. You understand? One
Yeah.
pocket, banks, 9 ball,
Sure.
10 ball, 8 ball, straight pool. It's nothing like those games, but it's pool. But it's just 10 times more serious.
Right.
You got to be on your toes. And what it'll do too, like my running and my conditioning would really play a role in placement pool because you're eliminating the luck. And now I'm fitter than you.
Right.
I'm going to beat you.
And
You
physical,
understand?
physical health.
No,
train-
I'm
yeah.
fitter and I'm stronger mentally.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Because and this is real mental and real acute what we're doing, you know. You got to be dead sharp.
Sure.
Now my conditioning, the 800 sit-ups and the 6 miles every morning is going to come into effect more in placement pool than in a 9-ball game race to 11 with giant pockets, breaking from the rail with jump cues,
Right.
no
right.
shot clock, and you get every roll.
Right. Sure.
I sit there and be Mark Spitz and it wouldn't even matter. You know what I mean? Amazing. Now, I want my conditioning to show up.
Yeah.
And I think if you played placement pool, the players would get fitter.
Yeah.
They would get fitter.
Makes
They'd
sense.
have to. Wouldn't go out drinking all night.
Right.
You'll
Right.
come in and play placement pool and win with your break. You know what a guy does in pool? Like, for instance, say a player, I'll give you a good example. Say Jason Shaw's drinking at the bar, and it's late. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. He's had a few pints. I think he still has a few.
Oh, I hung
And the
out
guy
with-
says, the guy standing next to him says, "Hey, don't you have to play Earl in the morning?" And Jason says, "Oh, yeah, I got to play him." He says, "You better get some sleep." He says, "That's all right. I'll just outbreak him." See, you can break the balls and beat me. But in placement pool, there's no one aspect like that.
Right.
It's one aspect,
there's no
all right.
major advantage there
It's
for
one
them.
aspect, all right. You better be real sharp, I'll tell you that. You better be dead sharp
Yeah.
and dead ready.
Have you tried it yet? As far as like setting it up, like, all right, you have somebody who's neutral that'll set up, you know, a random whatever you call that when all the balls are on the table, and then the other person sits out, and then they come back in. Yeah, it'd be a cool little dry run to do.
Set up what? No, I don't.
I'm saying,
Like, have you put
instead of
dot
having the
stickers on the
computers doing
table?
it,
No, I don't want
manually
to do that.
No.
That ain't going to work.
Right.
You got to have exactly the way I explained it. You got to have that computer in the light and to cast the dots. So the referee, and you got 2 refs, but only one stays at the table. 2 refs. I got to have 2 people on hand because I want them to set the balls up as quick as possible.
Right.
One guy's going to take too long.
Okay.
Everything's got to be very, very efficient. That's where you're not going to ever hold an audience.
Right. Sure. You can't.
You guys don't understand how to hold an audience. I told you that you need my ingenuity.
Right.
I'm a genius at pool. I'm not good at nothing else, and I'm not saying I am. But for my sport, I know what it needs.
Sure.
And I've watched it.
And you're right. The American attention span will not.
Listen,
hold.
I've watched this game. I've played it. I've analyzed it over and over and over. Why am I not as professional as a golfer? Why am I not as professional as a tennis player? Because you're allowing the whole world to stand next to me. You're allowing them to get lucky. Now, if I play poorly and lose, then I have nothing to say.
Right.
And you know what? It's another aspect of placement pool, or another value is once you lose a match of placement pool, you can't even mumble a word.
Mhm.
You'll just look at the guy and say, good shooting.
Yeah.
And that's it.
All the variables are the same.
You're never going to say you got lucky. You're never going to say
Yeah.
you cheated me. You're never going to say you sharked me.
The
You're
cream
never gonna
rises
say
to the top.
you bad racked me. You're never going to say I got lucky. You're never going to say I got out of that jump stick beat me.
No excuses.
You're never going to say you sharked me. You're never going to say none of those things.
Yeah.
You're cleaning up all the garbage around the game with the game I want to play. It just eliminates all the garbage. The garbage is what's holding you back.
Well, Earl, I love it. I think it's great. I can't wait to see what you come up with it. And,
Well, I got a guy working on
Awesome.
the computer right now, and it has to have all the mechanisms that I
sure,
said.
absolutely. I
It's got to
understand why.
be able to take a picture and program and set up. And I didn't say entirely how the game's played. If you miss a ball, if you missed a 7 ball and you disturb other pool balls, then you turn the light back on, the dots, turn the light off, the dots come back on. The referee replaces the ball that was missed and the ones he disturbed, and then you take ball in hand and finish the rack. But you have one miss.
Gotcha.
If you guys were wondering how the game's truly played, if you disturb anything on the table, it goes, but not while you're playing.
Right, I understand.
You know what I mean? Only when you miss. Say you run a few balls, and you disturb one, but you don't miss, and then you miss again. That ball will go back where it was.
Makes sense.
You see, because
it's spotted.
you can't make a player shoot the same shot over and over and over. Then you'll lose your audience.
Yeah, agreed.
You'll lose it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Awesome. Well, I think we'll wrap it up. Is there anything else you want to say to the pool world, the pool industry out there?
Well, I want to thank everybody for all the years, all the support, good and bad. You know, I haven't been the most. I've had my moments. You know,
Sure.
and we all have them. I guess I had to go through all this to get these ideas.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. I had to live 50 years of pool, 8 hours a day, 50 countries around the world to find out that it was all luck. You know, I just never knew that.
Yeah.
You know, but it really, no disgrace to women, but the first time a woman beat me is when I realized something was wrong. But there are some good women players, you know. Jean Belucas was a hell of a player. I played her one time. I was scared to death. I have to say I was more scared when I played her than anybody.
Wow.
But anyway, I want to thank everybody for playing pool. You know, it's a great game.
Yeah.
Anybody that, you know, people that look down on pool and bash the game, you know, I don't want to name any names anymore. I guess I've called enough names.
Sure.
But they're missing out. Pool's a great game.
It is.
It's a fun game. It's an intellectual game. Even though it's surrounded by blue-collar people, it's a very intellectual game.
Right.
It's smarter than you think. Yeah, but I say pool, and you know it'll get its due one day. It may not. It's a shame that I can't live a more exciting career throughout my life. I wanted pool to be more exciting than it was. You know.
Yeah.
It just never made it. But I still think it goes back to jealousy. But I don't want to dwell on anything.
Sure.
But just thanks a lot for everybody playing pool that loves the game. And hopefully we can get a new game and help the game grow. The game's got to get on TV, and it's got to be prime times, and it's got to be live.
It makes perfect sense.
Okay? Thanks
Thank
again.
you, Earl.
Thanks, Earl.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.